G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today I have an absolute treat for you. Not a word of a lie. This will blow your minds as it did mine. So it all started, I went out to coffee with a couple of mates, and in the duration of that coffee, they started sharing about going to see the fireflies. And I'm like, sorry, what? And they're like, the fireflies. And I'm like, you're kidding, like a fly that is full of fire? Where have you been all my life? And they're like, no, they're like flying glowworms. I'm like, no, still keen. Where did you go? And they're like, oh, just Burleigh. I'm like, guys, we're in Burleigh. What do you mean, just Burleigh? Seriously? Seriously? What are you talking about? They're like, you've not seen this before. I'm like, what do you mean I've not seen this before? It's like this incredible phenomenon that I'm going to show you tonight if filming goes well. Now, here's the challenge. They're only here for 2 weeks of the whole year, and they're in Burleigh Heads. Look, this is where they are. Tonight we're going to photograph these little things called fireflies. They're like glowworms or glow sticks that fly around on, off. It's incredible to behold. It's like a wonderland walking amongst them, and it's here on Burleigh Heads, in the middle of Burleigh. It's a mind blower. So they're here for 2 weeks a year. They're not here for long, for 2 weeks a year, usually in the middle of winter and just on dusk. So come dusk, when the sun goes down, to half an hour later, and then they vanish, or they turn the lights off. And so we're going to try and do the impossible. We're going to try in the hardest light situation you can think of other than a cave. We're going to take some amazing photographs without using any artificial lighting. And I'm going to walk you through what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if we can hit gold, people, because these things are tiny. And getting them in focus, who am I kidding? This is going to be impossible. Here's my setup. I'm shooting on a 20mm. It's at 4K at 24 frames a second, and I've got my aperture down to 1.8, which is the lowest this lens will go because I need to suck in as much light. I tried it with those original settings. I use a wireless Go often with a lav mic, and then it's like done itself twice now and just cut out of me in 2 different shoots. In this one and one I did a couple of days ago, and I am not happy. Rode, you can do better. Anyway, disgruntled photographer, and even though you can still see it's light, it gave me nothing. It jumped the ISO up to 2000. I'm like, I can't start there. So I've gone as low and wide open as I can go. I'm not sure what that bizarre shutter speed will do when you're filming, because you're not supposed to use that for cinematic photography. But tonight we're just getting whatever we can, and with the 20mm we're set up, it's nice and wide. So that's what we're looking like, which is basically that at a 20mm crop. The real reason behind tonight's shoot is that my little boy, he came down with me the other day to suss it out. He's scoping it all out, checking it out with me, and then he captures a firefly bug, and he says to me this morning, I would love to show a firefly bug at my show and tell. I'm like, well, the one you caught didn't fare so well, did it? It's probably not going to show it for a show and tell, even if you ask it nicely. So I've come down for him tonight to see if I can shoot some footage that he can show off to his mates and be like, hey, look how cool these are. They're just over the hill over there. So we'll see how we go. But if it's turned out all right, I'll show you right now. You can have a look at what I got right now. Here's what I have done. So I've set up my film camera's down there, and this camera's here, which sets up for a different sort of take on things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the settings, aperture is going to stay at 1.6, ISO I'm going to try and keep as low as absolutely possible, however it may not be possible, and I'm going to shoot at shutter speed of whatever is required. And that's what I've done. You see the red highlights. It's what happens when you put it on manual focus, and it's a good function of the Nikon that enables you to see what you're focused on. And I have to focus while it's still light. If I focus when it's dark, I can't focus on anything. So I have to come here when it's light, focus when it's light. Now put the lenses on manual focus, and they're not going to move. I'm not even going to move my composure. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to put an interval timer, and I'm going to shoot a ton of shots of the bugs as they come out to play.
I feel he's getting a bit restless now.
I want it on my hand. No. Hey, I want it on my... Hey, my bully.
That's so cool.
It's on
I love it.
I want it on my hand. It's on my hand.
So I thought I'd show you really briefly about how we do this next part of the process, because I've managed to get it down to a much finer art and to do it quickly. So this works when you're star stacking, when you're doing glowworms, when anything is illuminated against very dark background. Use this technique. I put all the photographs into Lightroom. That's 256 photographs into Lightroom. And then I choose the one that's kind of the best of the bunch. And so I take this image here, and then I've edited it like this. So I'll just show you so you get a bit of a feel for it. I've increased the exposure a little bit. The highlights are bumped right up. The shadows are made really dark, so I want to highlight those lights. Again, white's really bright, black's backed off, clarity is increased, and there's a little bit of saturation in there. So once I've got this image, I then sync all the other images to it. So you go Command A and either copy and paste your settings, or select your image and select everything else and sync it to it. Then you export all those images at high res. So that's about 100% quality, and because it's digital you can do it at 72 DPI, but if you're going to print you do it 300 DPI. And once you've exported all those images, you then use a little program called StarStax. This is what StarStax looks like. It says drop images here, so you got to find those images. So you go to where all the images are, then you select all, you drag them over here where it says drag and drop. 243 images. Did I say 256 before? I apologize. Now I happen to know that image 3337, which happens to be my old postcode, is where somebody walked past and shone a torch on the tree. So we're going to delete that one. We don't want that one in here. But for this particular exercise, when we go blending, we want lighten mode. It's similar to what happens in Photoshop. It retains the lightness of the lightest pixels and it layers them on top. So we choose lighten mode. We don't want comment mode. We don't need any of this other stuff. Images, we want background to be dark because we want the fireflies to pop out of this. We're going to use the best compression quality possible. We're going to go general, and then watch this. Now this is a much quicker way of doing it than using Photoshop. With Photoshop you've got to import, which takes massive amount of image. With Photoshop you've got to import, and it takes a massive amount of RAM and memory to make that happen. It takes a long time, and then to lighten everything and then to export, it's just a massive effort. But with StarStax 0.71, this little program is free and it packs a wallop for its size. And once you've done everything, you can just export your photo and it looks like this. hope you guys enjoyed that. It was something a little bit different, but it was really cool. I found it really special, and I wanted to share it with you. I thought, you guys, the creative crew, you're going to love this, so I hope you did. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here, get into the action. There's videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays. You shout me a coffee if you really love this. I love a cuppa. So if you want to shout me one, that's epic. There's some merch down below and some presets. But you can just become part of what we're doing here. Check out some of the other videos. Enjoy yourself. Catch a firefly. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Camera was just annoying the living daylights out of me because it wasn't straight. It's straight now. And these little fellas are amazing. They fly around like they're literally on fire. And so these little guys, I think what they do is they eat a bunch of solar panels during the down months, and then it just comes to burn off in their bums 2 weeks a year. It's like they've eaten a glow stick, and the glow stick's on at the other end of it, and it's like, here we are. And I'll talk you through what I do as we go. And if you want to take a look, if you want to come down and have a look at them, well, you better get your giddy on because they're only here for 2 weeks a year.